Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to BiblioTech on Air. We're starting off season 3 strong here with 2 special guests. We have Dulce and Megan joining us today for a Libros and Libations discussion talking about The Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Thanks for joining us, y'all.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're glad to be here.
We're glad to have you. All right, so before we get started, quick disclaimer about the book we'll be talking about. Again, The Fourth Wing. This is going to contain spoilers, and it is an adult book with adult content.
So getting into the summary, for those of you who have not heard, this book is about 20-year-old Violet Sorrengail, who is supposed to enter the scribe quadrant, living a quiet life among books and history. Now the commanding general, also known as her toughest talent's mother, has ordered Violet to join the hundreds of candidates striving to become the elite of Navarre, dragon riders. But when you're smaller than everyone else and your body is brittle, death is only a heartbeat away because dragons don't bond to fragile humans. They incinerate them. She'll need every edge her wits can give her just to see the next sunrise. Yet with every day that passes, the war outside grows more deadly, the kingdom's protective wards are failing, and the death toll continues to rise. Even worse, Violet begins to suspect leadership is hiding a terrible secret. Friends, enemies, lovers, everyone at Basgiath War College has an agenda, because once you enter, there are only 2 ways out: graduate or die. So pretty intense. We're gonna start off with some 1 reviews, or actually 2-star reviews that we found online. Surprisingly enough, there's not, at least on Amazon, there was no 1-star reviews. So these are some 2-star reviews of some comments that people had about the book. A lot of people were basically saying that it didn't live up to the hype. It was pretty disappointing that it read as a young adult novel. Some people compared it to Twilight, Smoke and Bones, Shiver. Yeah, that's pretty much it. What did you guys have to say to that?
Oh, it definitely did read like a YA novel, that's for sure.
It did. A lot of the reviews were saying that they didn't feel the character was like 20 or whatever she's supposed to be. They said that she felt more like a 15, 16-year-old teenager with the way it was written in the beginning. What do you guys think?
I think it could be just her upbringing. She kind of seemed to have a sheltered life because of her family and their status. So maybe that's why she kind of had that sort of, I guess, young aspect of herself.
I don't know. I'm just happy that it didn't have a 1-star review.
I know, surprisingly, because I mean, other than like all the horrible, like negative stuff they had to say about it, I mean, a lot of people ended up saying like the writing's really good. You know, it's still entertaining. It's still a good fantasy book. They just felt like some of the characters weren't there, or some of the scenes were a little cringy. Maybe the sexual scenes as well could be a little cringy, but overall, I personally thought the book was great. At first, I had the same thought. Like, the first half, I was like, this is a little cringy. This is gives me really Twilight vibes with how desperate this girl seems. But towards the end, it had me hooked. I was really into it towards the end.
I think when I started reading these types of books, because I first started with the ACOTAR series, and I kind of wanted that Twilight kind of feeling again. So ACOTAR definitely brought that in, and so after binging that whole series, I definitely was pretty happy that I could continue that with Fourth Wing.
Yeah.
All right, so with that, let's go ahead and jump into these questions. So starting off with the first one, what did you think of the world building in Fourth Wing? Did the author succeed in creating a believable fantasy world where dragons and humans coexist? What aspects of the world did you find most interesting?
I think one of the things that I really liked about this world, this fantasy world, was the fact that the humans didn't really control the dragons or have them as pets. So I feel like there's a lot of fantasy where humans tend to dominate things and they can control them, but the dragons were kind of just like they gave cat vibes. Like they just do their own thing. I think the author did a great job at bringing this world in, and especially like kind of putting that dark academia into it. And just having the option that, you don't have to be a writer, but you can be other things. So I would definitely like to see maybe in future books, like kind of the character interacting more with the other quadrants and seeing like what they have to deal with or put up with.
I like that. I didn't see the dragons as cats, but now I do. It makes sense. They have their own mind and their own way of doing things.
Yeah, because they're pretty independent.
They're the
so-
ones who rule the humans. Cats rule humans. I see it now. So speaking of the different quadrants, so obviously this book has multiple different quadrants. Forgive me, I only kind of really remember the writers and the scribe. What were the other quadrants? Oh, the healing. The healers.
And infantry.
Infantry.
Oh, okay. So, if you lived in the books world, which quadrant would y'all want to be a part of and why?
I think I said physically that I would want to be a writer, but like emotionally, probably not. Probably a healer. Can't
Yeah, I
handle
think I would be a healer too.
I would love to be a writer. They just have so much glamour and glory, and they have a dragon.
Yeah.
I would die trying.
Where do you think you would die?
I would die trying most things. What?
Where do you think you would die? Do you think you would make it across the parapet or?
Honestly, I think I would have the trouble staying on a dragon as well. Like, I don't know how.
So you would get to the point where a dragon chose you,
I would
then
think so.
writing.
Yeah, I would think so that I would get to that point.
I think that's a good place to die. You can
But
at least
then
say you
I don't
got a
think I would
dragon.
be able to hold on to some scales or something. It just doesn't seem practical.
Well, because they hold on to like the little kind of bony part in the back, don't they? That's how I imagined it.
But I guess like to keep like your butt in the seat.
Yeah,
True.
like while they're
Kinda-
flying
Very
and
true. You need a
doing
saddle.
obstacles.
Do they? She's the only one
She's
that has
the
a
only one that
saddle,
has a saddle,
right?
yeah, because dragons aren't really
I mean,
fans of those.
How is that fair?
Well, because it's like the second powerful dragon, right? Isn't Terran like the second one?
I thought he was the first.
Is he the first?
I don't know.
Well, because of his bonded mate.
Well, I feel like it's up to the dragon.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he's so powerful that, you know, no one's going to judge him for being uncool for wearing a saddle. So
Very true. So, how did y'all feel about Violet as the main character and narrator of the story, and what made her complex or different from other female protagonist fantasy books you've read before?
I think I had mentioned at book club that I feel like she wasn't any different than most female characters. I feel like in a lot of books, they're kind of portrayed as being weak. Something about them is just not up to standard, and they always end up proving themselves. So I felt like that was kind of the same aspect in a way.
I'm going to go ahead and say that while it was cool reading about, like, you know, how much she did grow as a character, it was a little annoying that I feel like they really emphasized her being kind of like the chosen one in a way. Not necessarily like the chosen one, but like very, very favored, you know. The two dragons picking her, I mentioned this previously, how, you know, everyone just kind of coddled her, even though they kind of stressed that, you know, because of your mom, everyone's going to hate you, you know, no one's going to take it easy on you. But it didn't really seem like that. Like, the stakes for her to just kind of die, they were there, but not to the extent where it was like, it could happen in this book. Like, we could have a shift in narration or something, you know? So,
I mean, sometimes when you're just the chosen one, you're just the chosen one. Like Harry Potter. He got all the glory while Neville was just...
okay, Book Harry was kind of compared to the movies, he was kind of a D-bag.
I mean, did this lady deserve everything handed to her the way everything was? Or did she earn it? Did she work for it?
To an extent. In my opinion, to an extent.
I mean, she couldn't really control two dragons picking her, I don't think.
She didn't. It's not like she wished for it.
Well, I mean, for sure. She didn't even think one was going to bond to her, let alone two.
I think there was a balance of like probably half of the writer's quadrant wanting to kill her because of who her mom was, and then like the other half probably being a little too scared to do anything about it.
But too, she was self-aware of, like, you know, they'd give her so much crap about who her mom was and what she's like, well, I mean, she's the one who forced me into here. I have to prove something. And she didn't even really like her mom.
Oh, that's true. She had
understandable.
mom issues.
Yeah.
Very much so. She kind of had mom issues. She kind of had daddy issues.
Yeah, I think
Daddy
it would have been
dead.
a lot different if she would have went to the writer's quadrant like willingly. That would have seemed like she had the attitude that she had it made, even though she knew she like physically was not good.
I see that. A lot of people probably just assumed she was there because she wanted to be there, but no one knew truly how forced she was to be there.
That's true. It was very select few that knew. Like, I think her bestie, Rhiannon, I think she told her. And then, of course, Xaden at some point ended up knowing, so...
Well, Dane knew too.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
even the professors were shocked to see her. Like when they would see her in the class, they're like, "Oh, why aren't you in the scribe?"
Yeah.
Like,
What are you doing here?
mm-hmm.
That was funny though, reading that, the head professor scribe just being like, why aren't you downstairs with us? What are you doing in here? The
Yeah.
betrayal. Alrighty, so what did you guys think about Violet's signet? What did you think her signet might be before it was introduced?
I really didn't give much thought into it. TBH, I thought like it was gonna be similar to Zayden's because I just felt like that it wouldn't surprise me. But for it to turn out the way that it did, I guess I wasn't shocked because I really had no idea. There seems to be so many variety that can be given to people, so I didn't really know what to expect.
Yeah, I didn't either. But I mean, I liked it. You kidding me? Wheeled lightning.
Yeah.
That's wild. But I had brought up too that her mom's is she can control storms. So I was like, well, does that have a play in like her hereditary? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of similar. But I forgot what.
Mira's.
Yeah,
I know. I don't remember what
don't
it
She
was.
can
remember hers.
expand the wards.
That's
something like
right.
that. Yeah,
That's
she can
right.
create a ward or something.
Yeah. So
You're
Not
like, that's a
really.
little
No,
off.
yeah, I'm like,
But
maybe
can
not.
she control rain or something?
nah.
And then Brennan was a
He was a
mender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, so that's pretty interesting because like now that you brought that up, it makes me think like she was kind of a lot closer to her mom.
Yeah.
And, like in her choice of signet, not choice, but in her signet that was, I don't know. You know what I'm
so
trying
just
to say?
kind of like, what kind of play does it have?
Yeah,
there?
like does it mean anything?
yeah.
The fact that
Well, it's interesting, like, when you actually look at all of that now, like, those are all pretty, like, top ones to have. So I wonder if there's, like, something that influences that. Because, I mean, to have a mender, apparently those are, like, really rare.
Yeah.
Those are great to have, obviously. And then to expand wards, like, that's awesome defense. And then, well, to control elements like the storms and then the lightning, be unstoppable, bro.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, that's a royal family if you ever have one.
Like, what do you think the dad would have had? Because obviously he was a scribe, so he didn't have one. But it'd be interesting to see what he would have had.
Maybe he had, like, the power of foresight or something. I don't know.
Oh,
Like,
maybe.
think so?
how he was alluding to, like, you know, trying to get Violet to, you know, like, hey, read these fables because it's about to go down.
That's
I
true.
don't know. Just
But only
speculating.
Someone has that
Yeah.
already.
It's one of the commanding people. Because
Oh,
Melgren
that's
or something
right.
is his name. He has that.
Forgot about that guy.
Well, then he probably had a higher version of that power, an intense
Maybe.
version.
Again, just speculating here.
And we will be back after these messages.
Are you looking to update your LinkedIn profile picture or spaz up your business cards? Don't forget to check out BiblioTech E's free headshots. Take a semi-professional headshot for your portfolio or profile photo. Call the branch to schedule an appointment at 210-631-0230. Again, that's 210-631-0230.
And now we're back.
Do you guys think that Xaden was justified in keeping his secret? If not, when was the appropriate time for him to tell Violet? If yes, was it fair for Xaden to ask Taryn to keep the secret too? Now, this was an interesting question because, first of all, we were all kind of confused because there's so many secrets in this book. So we were kind of trying to be like, okay, well, which secret do y'all mean? Is there the one where where Xaden was meeting up with the kids in the forest? Was it about Xaden taking on the punishment to kind of spare the kids, you know, a terrible fate? Was it the shipment one? Turns out it was a shipment one, I believe.
I think so, right?
Yeah, the fact that he was talking to the Griffins.
The Griffins,
Griffins.
yeah, the quote unquote enemies.
I mean, that one she was the most just like betrayed by when she first found out. So I would think they were talking about that one.
I kind of hated that she lingered on it, even though
Yeah.
she, like, learned the truth.
I know, yeah.
I was like, bro, just get over it.
Just
Like,
She was
you're
way too
alive.
salty about
yeah,
that.
I'm like, ugh.
Especially after like knowing that, you know, Dane used you. Like you unintentionally did betray or like kind of give away their thing. So
Well, that's why nobody wants to tell her anything.
Yeah. That was so horrible. That broke my heart. Just learning that Dane was secretly like reading her mind.
When it happened, I didn't even realize
Unconsensual.
he touched her face until it came up later.
Yeah.
Right. Like you just kind of like overlook that detail. It's like, oh, okay, like that's normal. But it's like, oh, no, it's not.
I forgot the fact that he can like read your mind too towards the end until they talked about it again. And I was like, wait, can he do that like at any time? But then I forgot he needs to touch you to do that.
Wait, so did you like him at first, like in the beginning?
Dane?
Yeah.
I did like him at no, actually, no. No, he was very like trying to keep her away from it when she was already in it. I'm like, dude, just
too
like
overprotective.
He was very overprotective. Like, dude, she's already in it. And then like, even though she beat the parapet and then she like finally got a dragon or whatever, and he's still just like, no, it's not too late. I'm like, bro, she already did all this. Like, just let her be.
Yeah.
I didn't like how he was like protecting her, but also insulting her.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like I'm trying to save you because you're too weak and you can't handle this, so you need to leave. I'm like, bro, like she's there. You already know she's gonna go back. Like, there's a better way to tell her, like, oh, you don't belong here, but you know what? I'm gonna try to help you.
Not just be like, no.
You know, like be the supportive bestie that they know you to be. Don't be that guy.
Well, it's so hard because he already warned her that like people change as soon as you get into that college. Like everything you knew, like your whole persona just like switches.
I mean,
like,
yeah, you're
dang.
like fight or flight.
You're right.
Literally.
Did he want her to stay the same, like the same Violet, little weakling Violet?
I mean, I'm sure that's what he was comfortable with, her being weak.
Just like a man.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a hypocrisy there because he's talking about how people always change, but then when he was seeing her change, he was like, wait, no.
There's a problem.
There's a problem. You can't become too powerful. More powerful than me.
I have to live up to my dad's standards, and so do you. I don't know. But speaking of his dad, so Xaden is given the choice by Colonel Atos. Do you have the choice of abandoning our village? No, you have the choice of abandoning the village of our enemy or abandoning command of your wing to test his loyalty. Since they chose to save the village, do you think any of them will be able to return to Bascaith, and if so, how? Well, I mean, either way, with either choice, I feel like he was just set up for failure to begin with, because you know, you go help out the enemy, you potentially come back being seen as a traitor. You don't help the enemy, you come back being seen as a coward, and then what? So it was just kind of, you know, a setup for them either way, I think.
I think either way they would have been screwed because they still would have known what was out there, I guess.
Yeah.
So going back was a death sentence regardless.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think they'll be able to return to Basquiat. I think because they want to keep the fact of the Griffins so hush-hush, and the fact that they already went through them and fought them. It's going to be like Harry Potter. Like, no, the ministry is going to put him down to everyone else, so that way they wouldn't believe it. So that way they can keep everyone, you know, from freaking out. And I don't know. That's what I imagine.
Very Order of the Phoenix like.
I've never read Harry Potter, so I don't know.
So basically, it's like real life. The government wants to keep the public from finding out the big secrets that'll keep everyone from freaking out.
There is no war in Bossing Say.
Dang, y'all are gonna get the FBI man in here.
But that's what I imagine. So they really don't want everyone else to find out about the Griffins.
Well, it looks like y'all gotta read the second book.
It is interesting though, because they kind of allude in the first book to her mom, of course, being like the general, you know, colonel, whatever, being already in the know about the venom, because they find that like special weapon to kill them in her office. So it does make me think, like, if the mom finds out that Violet knows, like, is she gonna antagonize her, or is she actually gonna be like, okay, look, you're in the know, so let's get you up to speed on everything in our plans? But I don't know. On to the next question. This one resonated with most everyone at Libros. So let's talk about sweet baby boy Liam and his death. How did that make you feel?
I was very sad, but I felt like somebody was gonna have to die.
Oh, for
somebody
sure.
that was pretty like key had to die, and it just sucked that it was him. But I do like that his death showed the true bond between a dragon and their rider. I guess I wasn't expecting that kind of death, but it was definitely not nice, but it was cool to see how that happened and how their bond is.
Because I think Violet always had the question, like, well, would you die if your dragon dies? Or I don't know, right? Wasn't there that kind of lingering question where they didn't really see it happen? Like, at least in front of their eyes.
I think someone was questioning it.
Yeah. Like, does that really happen?
Mm-hmm.
And then so with Liam.
I think when you first, I mean, if I had a dragon, I would definitely question that. I'd be like, meh.
Yeah.
But
Let's test it.
Yeah, you know, but maybe, I guess, you know, this definitely opened their eyes to everything that could possibly happen and what comes with being a writer.
Mm-hmm. It was very sad. I didn't expect it.
He was a very likable character too. Like, even though he was basically Violet's bodyguard, they made him very likable, which is kind of a giveaway that it was like
He's gonna get murked.
He's gonna get
He's gonna
die.
get murked.
But I think they did a good job of making it seem like he was gonna die that first time when he got attacked by Jack on the dragon, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then Violet was able to save him. So I think they did a good job of kind of like, oh, red herring, Liam didn't die, yay! And then they come in and hit you with the psych.
Psych.
I think it's crazy how, like, he was physically healthy.
Yeah.
And then should just die like that.
Yeah. Because it was... What happened? The dragon got, like, just attacked by, like the
eviscerated.
wyverns, right?
Yeah.
Dang, that was a wild scene, though. That whole scene with the venom in the village, that was a cool
like
battle.
Breaking Dawn Part 2. The whole battle.
Oh, God, that shocking scene.
Yeah.
Where it's just the head comes up. That was
it.
that twist.
Yeah.
So with Liam and his whole death scene, there were a lot of reveals towards the end of the book, starting with Xaden and the Separatists aiding the enemy, finding out that the Venin were not a fable, and that Brennan, her brother, was actually alive. There was a lot of foreshadowing, and which ones did y'all see coming?
Bro, was there any foreshadowing of Brennan being alive?
No, I really liked how that ended the book. I was like,
That was a legit surprise.
Took my breath away. The fact that he just showed up. That last sentence alone, because like I said at first I was like, this book's okay, but then that last sentence alone, I'm like, I have to know what happens next. Why is he alive? Why did they fake his death? I don't know. I didn't see any of these foreshadowing.
I kind of saw it coming. I mean, Xaden's the bad boy. Of course, he's going to be doing bad things. And then the Venom thing kind of did throw me off when she went to her friend. What's her name? The scribe? Is it Jasenia?
Jasenia? I
Yeah.
call
Oh,
it
yeah.
Jasenia. I don't know.
When she went and she was like, I can't find this book, yo. And I'm like, how? So
I didn't think anything of that.
well, I thought it was weird because I guess her dad like had so much knowledge, and then for this book not to exist, and it was like an official covering book and everything, so like definitely made me wonder, like, is this gonna come into play later on? How is she the only one that knows these fables, and apparently they don't exist anywhere else?
Yeah, I thought the Venom was definitely foreshadowed, like going off with the whole, her dad gave her the Book of Fables, but also I felt like they would bring it up a bit too much to just kind of like discredit it, like, oh, the Venom or the wyverns, whatever. I was just like, is it going to be one of those tropes where it's like the thing that's not real is actually real?
Like Game of Thrones.
With the White Walkers,
Yeah,
right?
the White Walkers.
I've never seen that either.
Oh, you would like it then if you like this book, because literally, like, White Walkers is the same myth, and then they end up becoming real. Spoiler alert, sorry.
So another disclaimer, spoiler alert for Game of Thrones. We're just spoiling all the fantasy series here.
We gotta just get right into it. I was dumb though. I did not see that, so that all surprised me. But I'm glad that I was just so shocked towards the end, because that's what had me really hooked.
I feel like usually with books when I read them, I'm not like making conspiracy theories or thinking of anything. I'm just like reading the book. Like I'm not
You're
really
just rolling along with the vibes.
Yeah, so when like something shocking actually happens, like, oh my God, like I had no idea. And they're like, oh, I saw that coming. And I was like, not me.
Not me.
I was shooketh.
I live in the here. I live in the now.
Pretty much.
I didn't think Xaden was gonna be. I mean, like at the end, he wasn't really all that bad.
No,
he
he's
had
the classic
right...
bad boy with the heart of gold.
Yeah. Cause when Dane kept questioning too, like, can you really trust him? Can you really trust him? I hated Dane already, so I'm like, boy, be quiet. He's the one in the end.
I hate Dane. Hate Dane.
Mm-hmm.
If Dane has no haters, I'm dead. How is the writing of the sexual intimacy and relationships in the story? What did you dislike about it? Again, adult book with adult content.
I like that it didn't consume the whole book.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people might have a misconception of Fourth Wing in that it's smutty, and it's really not. I think even with Akatar, I had mentioned like, yeah, there's smut scenes, but like the plot's good. The plot's there.
Yeah.
So I do like that it has a really good plot, even if you take out the intimate scenes. There wasn't anything that I really liked or disliked about it. I've read a lot of pretty smutty books, and sometimes
this is pretty mild.
yeah, like, well, sometimes like the smut can get annoying. Like if it's like in every chapter kind of thing, like I kind of just want to get to the point, like what's happening outside of the bedroom.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I didn't see anything wrong with it.
I like that you brought that up because this is my first smut book, so I was expecting it from like the start, and the fact that it made me wait like 400 pages until we finally got something, I was like, I like that. I like that it made me wait until really, because I just kept looking forward to it. I was like, when is it gonna happen?
That sounds smutty too.
Yeah, I like the build up. I like that it took so long because it's the same thing with Dulce. It just can be
Overwhelming.
Yeah, too much. And I feel like it was fine. Like it's like baby smut. It's an entry level.
Man, if this was baby smut.
I know. I'm like, dang, how do I sound? Like, I read smutty books.
I mean, it kind of goes with like you know, if you're into romance novels or, you know, even regular love stories, like that's kind of what it felt like to me, like, you know, that spicy scene or whatever that happens closer to the end of the book. So I definitely would not call this a smutty book. Like, it's just,
They had just some intimate scenes.
exactly. Yeah.
And I liked it. I liked the fact that their powers were just like being so uncontrollable as well in the background, like just wrecking everything. So he was like, I mean, everyone's going to know what we're doing because there's so much chaos going on.
That's crazy. Can you imagine like there's a storm and there's like a bunch of lightning and people are just like, damn.
They add it again.
Yeah. Like,
What if you're like in a drought and you're just like, well, you know what we got to do?
You know what we got to do?
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
All right, so wrapping it up with the final question. For fun, if this book were made into a movie, which we found out that it is being made into a series, who of Hollywood's elite would play Violet, Xaden, Dane, Rhiannon, Leon, and Jack as the villain?
For Xaden, for some reason in my head, I just kept thinking of Jacob Elordi. Just because I was just imagining he's usually like the tall, handsome guy in the teen movies. So that's who I was imagining as Xaden.
Fair.
Yeah, I guess I was supposed to go home and like make a whole list, but I didn't. I should have though. We were talking about for Jack, it was going to be that Timothée Chalamet because not everybody likes him.
I see
And
that.
I would agree too because I don't like Jack. So
I don't know. Jack, I imagine him as like this kind of just, you know, beefy, swole kind of guy. So it's kind of hard for me to see Timothy as that.
I
He
saw
can
him as
get
like
beefy
scrawny.
as well.
Maybe.
A scrawny Timothy, that would be interesting.
I'm not very good with like
swole,
actors
excuse
and
me.
stuff, so I wouldn't know. For
Dane, I kept imagining Josh Hutcherson for some reason.
That's what you were saying. Or no, who?
Olivia was saying
Olivia.
that.
Really? She
Yeah,
did?
she
Yeah.
said that.
I don't know why. He just has that face.
That's wild.
the face you want to punch.
the face you had. Yeah.
I'm
Like-
thinking
Like
that
he
one
just has like
dude,
that next door neighbor boy look that
That's
you
true.
grow up with.
kind of deceiving in a way.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this guy's not
And
going
that
to
is
do anything to
basically
me.
what happened.
And you trust him because of his baby face.
That's good. I dig that. I do.
I don't know who I imagined as Violet.
Shailene Woodley. No, I'm kidding. I don't know.
I
I think someone mentioned Jenna Ortega.
Oh, yeah, Jenna Ortega.
Mhm.
Oh, that would be amazing. I could see that.
She could definitely knock that out of the park.
What about Xaden?
I don't know. I was trying to think of someone like
It's
really
kind of
hot.
scary because it comes back to like when the Twilight movies came out and they had the cast, and you're like, damn, this ruined everything that I read.
Ooh, you're right.
So that it's kind of intimidating to think about, like putting faces,
Oh,
actual
yeah.
human faces to
'Cause-
these people.
Imagine they don't get someone that handsome as Xaden.
Right. I would just like when I was reading it, there's a lot of like on TikTok or whatnot, people would make their own
Sketches?
illustrations.
Oh,
yeah,
fan
and so
art?
yeah, fan art. So I was just picturing something that I saw, and I was like,
Oh, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
yeah,
Did y'all ever watch Heartstopper?
no.
Okay. But the one of the boys, not Kit Harington. That's well, his name's Kit. I can't remember his last name, but he plays one of the main boys. He's who I imagined as Liam. He was a kind of light brown hair. He's a little bit of a stocky
guy.
kid. Yeah, he's who I imagined because he also has just like that sweet face, like
I see.
aw, cinnamon roll.
Cinnamon roll. So did y'all have anything else that you wanted to add? Something that maybe stuck out that wasn't mentioned? Or anything else at Libros that was mentioned?
I've been seeing a lot of reels, and they talk about the whole enemies to lovers, and they're saying like, what if Dane and Violet are the real enemies to lovers?
Ugh.
And I don't like that at all.
Mm-mm.
But I feel like at this point, with everything that's happened, like it wouldn't surprise me.
That's
I just
true.
hope it doesn't happen.
Right, because it's a 5-book series.
Yeah,
and this
like,
is so
bruh.
early on. Like,
So much is happening so early, and I'm
Yeah.
like, damn, like this better not happen in the last book, 'cause I'm gonna be so mad.
I'll be so
And then she woke up, and it was all a dream.
And it was all a dream.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Again, thank you to Megan and Dulce for joining us for this book talk about The Fourth Wing. Again, available on Hoopla and cloudLibrary. If y'all want to check out The Iron Flame, which is the second book in the series, it is currently out. This is going to be a 5-book series, so just a heads up, there's going to be a pretty lengthy wait for the next few books, so do with that what you will. But again, big thank you to you guys. And for the next Libros and Libations, we'll be reading Such a Fun Age, available also on Hoopla and cloudLibrary. So we'll be talking about that the next month. Make sure y'all stay tuned for that episode. But thank you guys again. I'm Rosanna,
I'm Ruby.
and we'll catch you on the next episode.